This is ACMi News, recognized nationwide as the first place winner of the 2022 Hometown Media Award for News Access.
Authorities need your help tracking down a suspected arsonist who targeted the Rectory at St. Athanasius Church this week. And there is a reward if you can help law enforcement find the person who did this. Arlington students take to the streets and the fields to bring awareness to going green by ditching the plastic. They say they're not old enough yet to vote, but that does not diminish their voice. ACMi loves its internship program, and we'd like to introduce you to our summer intern lineup starting this week. And we love music, sweet, sweet music, long as it's swinging, all the joy that it's bringing. Porch Fest 2022 is now history, and there was never too many notes. We have a report. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the 2022 nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
Public safety officials need your help finding a suspected arsonist who struck the Rectory at St. Athanasius Church on Tuesday, June 21st in the early morning hours. Hello, I'm James Milan.
And I'm Jeff Barn. Very glad you could join us. ACMi News talked to Arlington's fire chief and the APD about this case. They say this isn't the first time the Rectory has been targeted. Here's ACMi News correspondent Summer Maxwell with an update.
Authorities say flames broke out at the Rectory at 22 Appleton Street in the early morning hours of June 21st. And now the investigation into who did this begins.
There was a police officer out on patrol, smelled some smoke, got out, did a great job, investigated, and noticed that there was some smoke coming out of the top floor of the Rectory building associated with the Greek church up the street.
Doing the overnight on that night, he did a very nice job. He really just picked up on the smell of smoke. Got out of his car, walked around a bit, and located really kind of like a smoldering fire up at the Rectory at the Greek church.
A heavy smoke condition. Took a while to find the fire, and when they finally found it was down in the basement. Looks like some papers. There was a sump pump hole, and it filled it with some paper and lit it on fire. And just to picture a stack of 8 by 11 paper about 2 feet high, that's all they lit, and they filled the whole building up with smoke.
The case is under investigation. We have looked into a couple of incidents up there over the past month or so, a case of vandalism and another break. But really the whole thing is under investigation. We really don't want to speculate. I know there's some rumors going around town who might be responsible or what they think. But we'd like to go into it kind of with an open set of eyes, and I'm sure the State Fire Marshal's office is doing the same thing.
Anyone with information on the fire is asked to call this hotline, 1-800-682-9229. There's a reward of up to $5,000 for information that solves arson cases like this. For ACMi News, I'm Summer Maxwell.
All calls, whether it's the fire marshal, Arlington Police, or the fire department, are strictly confidential.
The town was alive with the sound of music on Saturday, June 18th, that is. Arlington's Porch Fest 2022, presented by Arlington Center for the Arts, featured more than 200 bands on countless porches. And the weather was just as good as the many genres of music. ACMi News correspondent Theo Watton reports thousands of people townwide were partying, singing, even diddy bopping on the sunny side of the street.
How does it feel to have live music outside here today?
It feels great because I think we're finally coming out of the pandemic and people just want to come out.
Making off with a pile of cash, I gotta say. Blazing down Highway 495, I gotta say.
lot of people, big turnout.
Yeah, I am, and we've got a lot of people. This is pretty good for the beginning of the day, and yeah, we'll have a lot of people here. So.
What are you making here? Hamburgers, hot dogs, and Impossible Burgers.
We're here at Arlington Porch Fest 2022, listening to some of the over 250 artists playing at over 100 different locations here across East to West Arlington. And with the perfect weather, people are saying it's the place to be.
You know, no more being cooped up at home. So, and the weather is cooperating. It's a little chilly, but, you know, it's a very nice day to have music in Arlington.
For ACMi News, I'm Theo Wine.
And we'd like to thank Tom Lemaire for his outstanding grilling of Summer Fair. It was music to the palate.
More than 200 people turned out for a very special and long-awaited ribbon cutting. Arlington's Park and Recreation Department kicked off the summer season celebrating the fully renovated Arlington Reservoir just in time for the summer. This event was held Saturday, June the 18th. The community-supported Arlington Reservoir project through capital and CPA funding over several years. The nearly $5 million in renovations included improvements to the mechanical system, concession stand, picnic pavilion, and much more. Even the sand on the beach was trucked in from Cape Cod. We're not kidding. Town leaders say every recreational element at the reservoir received some form of improvement.
It's no secret that the use of synthetic plastics has made its mark all over our planet. And scientists say a world already blighted by plastic pollution is on track to see the use of plastics nearly triple in the next 30 years. And some Arlington students want action now.
Hey, hey, we want climate action today! Oh, ho! Hey, hey, we want climate action today!
These Green Team students from Thompson Elementary and Gibbs schools say they are not able to vote just yet, but they do have a say, and they made their voices heard in Arlington Center this week.
We made it to show how much plastic is used and how it kills the turtles. We made a turtle and a jellyfish because when the turtles go in the water, they see plastic and they think it's jellyfish, and they eat it. And if the jellyfish has air in it, they suffocate and die.
These students have a point, scientists say. There are so-called dead zones in our oceans where there is hardly any sea life because of tons of discarded plastic. Some dead zones are bigger than the size of the state of Texas.
Addison students were doing what they can to advance the green initiative. At this year's Field Day event, students brought their own water bottles to save on the plastic containers we often find discarded near trash cans, streets, and our waterways. Experts say annual production of fossil fuel-based plastics will top 1.2 billion tons by the year 2060, which means that waste will exceed 1 billion tons. One DPW intern says from now on, Field Day will be focused on going green.
In the future, the field day can be zero waste as best as possible. This year they have paper cups because the budget didn't allow for compostable cups, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to find better alternatives.
And the town's on board with this. You'll recall town meeting recently passed a measure to prohibit the sale of plastic bottles of non-carbonated, non-flavored water in sizes 1 liter or less. And that ban takes effect this November 1st.
As you probably know, the U.S. Supreme Court is set to consider the fate of the Roe v. Wade decision. Last month, the state Senate voted to adopt an amendment which provides more protection for reproductive and gender-affirming health care in the Bay State. Senator Cindy Friedman of Arlington proposed this amendment, which would ensure abortion remains a right in Massachusetts if the federal rulings fall. ACMi News recently caught up with State Representative Sean Garbely, and he weighed in on this divisive issue.
The laws that we have passed in the Commonwealth put women's health care first. And so as the state representative for the town of Arlington and the city of Medford, my main goal before the end of session, we end session on July 31st, is we know a draft leak memo from the Supreme Court. We will wait to see what they do in terms of what the actual decision will be. But before that decision comes out, we're going to do everything in our power, in the responsibility of the legislature, to make sure that women's health care is first and foremost protected in the Commonwealth, and we will pass whatever needs to be passed to protect that and make sure it's enshrined in our Constitution.
A lot of conservatives say just give it back to the states, but if you have 3 states in the South, for instance, that are fairly large, geographically that would be tough for a woman to take care of things in her own private life if she doesn't have that right in her own hometown or somewhere near her hometown.
This is a constitutional right that has been protected since Roe v. Wade, right? So the United States Supreme Court is taking a constitutionally protected measure away from women across the country. And make no mistake, abortion will be available for rich women all across the country. Wealthy women will be able to get on a plane, a bus, a car, a plane. But think of the poor women living in poverty, who now won't be able to access health care potentially in their own state. So what the Supreme Court did, or what they may potentially do, because it's just a draft memo, is take away health care for the poorest women in our country, which is disgusting. And that's why states like Massachusetts have to step up and protect health care for women across our 351 cities and towns. And that's what we'll do.
Meantime, GOP officials in at least 8 states have called for special legislative sessions to consider new abortion restrictions.
More than 150 residents took part in the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life event at Herd Field. This campaign is dedicated to helping communities attack cancer of all kinds. Participants teamed up to make a difference, and this year was yet another major success. Several teams took turns walking around the track at Herd Field, dedicated to help communities battle cancer and to make a difference.
We have all gathered this afternoon because cancer continues to affect the lives of those we love. It is something we simply cannot ignore. By the end of this year, 1.7 million people are expected to be newly diagnosed with cancer, and more than 600,000 people will die from the disease. Cancer is the second most common cause of death in the U.S., exceeded only by heart disease. and accounts for nearly 1 in every 4 deaths. That's why the American Cancer Society is fighting cancer on every front.
So the mission of the American Cancer Society is alive and working right here in Arlington, and you are the American Cancer Society. This progress and the programs and services offered every day are available thanks to your commitment, passion, and fundraising efforts. Thank you for what you do to help save lives from cancer.
Many participants got families and friends to take part as well, because in one way or another, everyone attending here has been affected by cancer. And this event helps fund life-saving research, crucial patient services, and prevention initiatives that have helped millions of people. And participants here say they have absolutely no intention of slowing down.
I had my first colon cancer operation 29 years ago. At this point, I guess that's the beginning. It came back a year later, almost to the day. I'll never forget the feeling. When the doctor came in and my colonoscopy results, the look on his face said it all. I figure at that point, my life was over. I never felt so down and depressed. With a great medical team and a huge amount of support from my family and friends, I agreed to a second operation. There were no guarantees. Just the trust in my surgeon and the medical team and the support and prayers of my family and friends. After the surgery, my surgeon said to me, I did all I can, the rest is up to you and God. It took me a couple of years to truly understand what it meant by those words. He did not guarantee me anything except his skill as a surgeon. Now I had to be sure I maintained a positive mindset and do all the right things to take care of my body. As the next few years went by and my regularly scheduled colonoscopies were clean and clear, I really began to feel like a survivor.
The great news is the future is bright and there are very many treatment options available. And that's really in large part to people like yourself who are coming out to organizations and events like this and contributing to the future of treatment for these rare conditions. So thank you very much. And really, I wish you guys a very successful walk and relay today. And I hope that we continue these efforts in years to come and we continue to support this from a community grassroots level. So thank you.
Nearly 150 people took part in this fundraiser, raising nearly $34,000. Proof that grassroots efforts like this can go a long way, and that to give is to invest oneself in the life of others. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes. If you wish to donate, the American Cancer Society would love to hear from you. All you have to do is go to their website at acsevents.org. Again, that's acsevents.org.
Since March, we have been in touch with many people in Ukraine as that nation continues to get pounded by Vladimir Putin's military might. We had the chance recently to talk to a journalist who is working overtime to report on the horrors of the Ukraine war.
His name is Anton Semizhenko, a reporter working for Babel UA. That's a Ukrainian news outlet reporting on the war in Ukraine. Anton also works to debunk anything coming from Russia's state-run propaganda outlets. He tells us his nation, his culture, his world is at stake.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine is entering a new phase.
We just heard the launch. It just landed right there.
Okay, let's go. Let's go back.
Okay.
I almost have no holidays, no weekends, no evenings, because you have to work a lot. And this is good because now Ukrainian journalists feel that they are needed a lot because our work is crucial for the society. It might be crucial for not only for inside Ukraine, but for some international results of our war as well. That is why lots of my colleagues, they work non-stop.
We're here doing our best to stay alive under shelling here. I mean, this is Ukraine, as you've heard from witness after witness. Ukraine is just opening fire on this village.
You have to cover all the atrocities, all the crimes, because you also document it in this way, because maybe in a year or in two, some facts will be forgotten, some of them will disappear, and still we need to cover that as extensively as possible. So we do this.
Слушать наши команды полностью.
It was bombed nearly a month ago. Hundreds were sheltering inside. The confirmed number known to have died is still not clear. On the claim of chemical weapons being used here, there is still no clarity.
It was very important for us to double check everything we get on the first hand. On the second hand, we also had to monitor Russian propaganda, sometimes to debunk one of its most craziest myths. And we were quite successful at this, but still this is one of their weapons, one of their main weapons, and the most effective one, I guess.
All responsibility for possible bloodshed that continues will be totally blamed on the rulers of the regime in Ukraine.
There seems to be a lot of uncertainty about the mental, obviously, and physical health of Russia's president. What are you hearing?
After COVID broke, the health issues for Putin became one of the top priorities, and he got more and more isolated. So there were almost nobody who could face him directly, and this probably also influenced his worldview. You know, when you are sitting in a bunker and only read some filtered information, you become not really a realistic person. So that definitely influenced him, and he also, with years, as he grows older, he became more closed and thinks that before he dies, he has to do something for Russia, and in his opinion, he has to make Russia an empire again. And he's in a hurry. That is why probably he caused this war. We feel that we are needed, and this is probably not the happiest and not the happy, but still one of the most important times of my career.
What would you like to say to the American people, the American viewers, our viewers basically, who are watching this obviously in the comfort of their homes?
While all the viewers sit in the comfort of their homes, it's important to value this, to enjoy life, to enjoy time of living in a calm country. Because right now we also feel how important it was what we lost now, and we don't know when it will be returned.
Anton tells us he expects to put a lot of work quashing what he calls Russian fiction in the coming months.
We are always proud of our interns who work very hard here at ACMi. They're all around us right now. This summer we have more than a dozen interns who are here to learn the ropes, and they are outstanding. Want to meet them? Well, let's get started with our news intern. Savannah Anderson comes from Emerson College.
Hi, I'm Savannah. I'm from Wilmington, Massachusetts. I go to Emerson College, where I major in visual media arts production. My favorite movie is going to have to be the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice.
$10,000 a year, and he owns half of the Derbyshire. The miserable half.
I am a huge history and book nerd, and Pride and Prejudice is honestly one of my favorite book-to-movie adaptations, and it was done so well. It has an amazing cast, Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden. It's just like a perfect movie, and I probably have it memorized because I've seen it so many times. My favorite part of production is definitely going to be filming or principal photography. I think it is so exciting to be on set when all different aspects of film come together. It's a really great environment to learn. family from Arlington, so when I got this opportunity to intern here this summer, it really wasn't a question. I immediately took it. Interning at ACMi will give me hands-on experience that I will be able to use for my entire career moving forward in film production. And I'll also be able to spend the summer in a really great community, which I'm really excited about. 2 truths and a lie. 1. I have 2 siblings who are both 6'4". 2. I have been to 15 countries so far in my life. 3. I have read 25 books so far this year of 2022. You have 5 seconds. The lie is, I have 2 siblings who are both 6'4". I actually have 3 siblings who are all 6'1" and taller, making me the shortest. I'm so excited to spend the summer in Arlington.
Welcome to you, Savannah. Welcome to the team. You'll be meeting more ACMi interns throughout the summer.
We have a lot of interns this summer, and looking forward to working with each and every one of them. Everybody's just ready to report again instead of always on Zoom.
Absolutely, and the interns are going to cover Arlington like we like it covered.
That sounds good to me. I'm ready when you are.
Absolutely. That'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to say I'm James Milan. He's Jeff Barnes. This is a historic day, I've got to say. He doesn't want me to say it, but this guy spent 35 years or more on anchor desks all over the country. First time he's been at ACMi's anchor desk. And I really appreciate you making that sacrifice.
Well, thank you very much. I thought I was done because we have James Milan, but this week we were a little short, and I decided to get out from behind the camera and get here. And it was a pleasure doing the first show that I have done in a long time with you.
Whatever the reason, we are really glad to have you here.
Well, thanks a lot, James. It's always good to work with you, my friend. All right, and I'm Jeff Barnes. That's James Milan. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next week. Take care.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.